So in the previous video we talked about the process of splitting water molecules apart using an electrolytic cell. And in this process we end up having a cathode where you're going to generate hydrogen gas from the reduction of water molecules, and you would produce oxygen gas at the anode from the oxidation of the water molecules. All right, and even though this reaction right here is possible, what is actually more interesting with electrolytic cells is not doing electrolysis on pure water, but instead doing it on aqueous solutions where we have some dissolved solutes in this that can either be reduced or oxidized depending on what the desired reaction is. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. All right. So the thing about whenever you are doing a reduction on, doing an electrolytic cell on an aqueous solution, it's important to realize that at just about all times, the same reactions that occur in pure water are possible when you're using some aqueous solution. All right, and the question of whether we get a reduction, a reaction with the water molecules or with the solute depends on a couple different things, and that's what we're going to go over in this video. All right, so the first thing that would matter is the position of the atoms in the activity series. And to demonstrate this, I'm going to compare two different electrolytic cells. All right, everything between these two cells is set up the exact same way, except for in this aqueous solution, our solute is going to be sodium hydroxide. All right, and in this one, we're going to have copper sulfate. All right, so in this solution, the two solute particles would be sodium ions, Na+, and hydroxide ions. All right, so and by comparison over here, we would have copper +2 and sulfate ions. All right, so the question is, let's focus on the cathode right here. All right, well, we know from the previous video that one reaction that's possible is for the electrons to be donated to water molecules to make hydrogen. All right, so if you take a look at this cell right here, would there be water molecules that are available that are in contact with that electrode? And the answer is obviously yes. This is an aqueous solution. Water is all over the place. All right, but what we have in addition to water is our sodium ions. All right, and so I could draw reactions for both of these reactions occurring. This would show the reduction of a sodium ion to make sodium metal. And this right here shows the same reduction of water that we showed in the previous video. All right, and what's going to govern whether or not this occurs is going to be the position of this ion in the activity series. So taking a look at the activity series, let's find sodium. Sodium's right here, and recall that the higher a metal is on this list, the more it wants to be oxidized. In other words, the more it wants to get rid of its electrons. All right, the lower something is, the more its positive ion would like to grab onto an electron to convert it to the neutral metal. All right, well, sodium's right here, so it's fairly high up on the list. All right, what this means about it is that it's not inclined, it's very inclined to be the type of metal that would want to give up electrons. It means, in other words, sodium plus would not want to grab an electron to become sodium. All right, so taking a look at the choices here, well, as we said, sodium plus does not like to grab onto an electron to make sodium. All right, in fact, if you wanted to know why sodium isn't going to exist in water, I've shown in that video what happens when you do add sodium metal to water. It's going to react pretty violently. So given the choice between these two things, this right here would not happen. All right, so at the cathode right here, what you're going to have happening is this reaction right here. So you would, if this was sodium hydroxide, you would see mostly hydrogen gas being created right here. And over here at the anode, you're going to have oxygen bubbles being formed, and that's just going to be from the hydrolysis of the water molecules. All right. So in comparison to that, let's think about what would happen if it was copper sulfate. All right. So again, our choices at the cathode are going to be between, all right, is it going to react with, are the electrons going to react with water molecules to do the traditional water reduction, or are these copper ions going to accept the electrons to become copper metal? And if that happened, the copper metal would form on the surface of this electrode right here. All right. So again, let's go back to the activity series and find, well, where's copper? Copper is down here. All right. And copper is down in that region of the activity series where it's the type of thing that generally likes to exist in its metallic form. All right. So if you had the copper plus 2, it would be inclined to want to accept electrons to give you the metallic copper. All right. So in this particular case, we could, given the choice between these two reactions, this is going to be the favored reaction. All right. And so what you're going to see predominantly here is you're going to see no bubbles because the electrons aren't being given to water. They're going to be given to the copper, or at least you're going to see, a lot fewer bubbles than you would here, because there's some preferred atom for those electrons to go to. All right, and you're going to see that accumulation of the copper metal on the surface of that electrode. All right, so as a general rule of thumb, when you look at the activity series, metals that are below hydrogen on the activity series will get reduced. All right, so essentially what that means is if the metal ions are anything that are below here, all right, so copper, silver, palladium, if any of these ions were in solution, when you do the electrolysis, those would get converted into their metallic form. But anything that's above that, those are generally going to be things that where the electrode would rather react with the water molecules instead of the ion. All right. So another thing that's going to affect the reactions in these aqueous electrolytic cells is going to be the concentration of the solutes. All right. So the thing about these reactions is that they still require, on some level, a collision between the electrons being either pulled away or donated and some particle. All right, that particle can either be water molecules or that particle could be a solute molecule. All right, so the thing is, the concentration of those solute particles is going to make a difference. All right, so over here, what we're going to say is, let's say that we have a dilute sodium chloride solution, and over here we're going to have a relatively concentrated sodium chloride solution. So the difference is going to be, you're going to have a lot of these solute particles or chlorides around the anode. You would have a lot of sodium ions around the cathode, but as we said before, sodium metal is not going to be reacting with the cathode. So the question is, at the anode, would the electrons rather get pulled away from the chloride ions to make chlorine gas, or would the electrons rather get pulled away from the water molecules, which are all over the place, in order to make oxygen bubbles? All right. And when this is really dilute, there just aren't enough of these chloride ions present around the electrode for there to be any significant oxidation of the chloride ions. All right. So at low concentrations of sodium chloride, you're going to have mostly water that's being oxidized. All right. And that's why you would see mostly oxygen bubbles being formed there. All right. But if we just add more salt to this, all right, and we increase the concentration of the chloride ions in the solution, you now have a lot more of these chloride ions right there around the anode. And if two of these guys are in close enough proximity to that, if both of them each lose an electron, they could potentially form a covalent bond between them to make a neutral chlorine Cl2 molecule. And that's in fact what happens. All right. So when you've got that high concentration of chlorine, this reaction right here now becomes the preferred reaction. All right. And what you would see is bubbles getting formed, but now it's going to be chlorine gas bubbles as compared to the oxygen bubbles that would have gotten formed from the oxidation of water.